Good day and welcome to another exciting episode of the News Review. In recent days, a shadow has loomed over the hallowed halls of academia, casting a cloud of concern and discontent among students, parents, and educators alike. This menacing threat is the escalating trend of university fee hikes. As institutions of higher learning grapple with financial constraints, the impact of these fee increases echoes through the educational landscape. In today's episode, we delve deep into a topic that's been making headlines across the nation: the hike in university fees. We've heard from students who are feeling the pinch and parents who are worried about their children's future. Today, we will be seeking answers to why university fees are on the rise, what it means for students and their families, and can universities continue to provide quality education in the face of budget constraints? To shed light on these questions is a woman of many firsts, the first female and 13th substantive Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos. I'm Vina Peters. We'll go on a quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, it's the news review on Unilag TV. And earlier I said we will be discussing the hike in University of Lagos obligatory fees. Earlier today, in an exclusive interview, we spoke with the first female and 13th substantive Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Folashade Ogunshola, FAS, on the issue. Take a listen.
So welcome to the show, Madam VC. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, ma'am. Quickly, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The University of Lagos just increased its university fees to over 100%. Could you please tell us or give us insight as to the reason behind this?
Okay. Let me say that the mandate, and thank you for asking. First of all, let me also mention that it's been about the University of Lagos, but there has been a general increase in educational costs across the country. Universities, secondary schools, government secondary schools, and all that. So I just want to say that the University of Lagos is in the limelight, but it's not just about the University of Lagos. However, our mandate is to provide quality education to Nigerian students so that they can be gainfully employed. There has been a lot of noise about students not being employable, and we have always worked hard to do that. Earlier on, we noted that the cost of living and providing resources to ensure quality education for every student was becoming an impossible task. We get a lot of complaints about our living quarters, and we know that we do not have the resources to change this. We truly believe that anybody must have quality education, irrespective of the situation of their birth. At the University of Lagos, we set up a committee to look at all our expenditure, look at everything we had been doing, and then come up with reasonable increases that would assure that we would be able to give this kind of education in this very competitive world. And so the committee starts from January. So it was just really, should I say, bad luck that it happened. But, well, I'm not sure about bad time. Well, it was the only timing that was possible, because it had been decided that we would bring it out in July to give time for parents to get ready for October. Fuel subsidy occurred. In many ways, it was also good timing, because if we had waited for fuel subsidy, we will be talking some different costs. So it had been moderated, but based on the realities as of January to before the fuel subsidies. So, however, I know that, anyway, I think I'll leave it at that. So we needed to increase, because there was no way we could meet our obligations in terms of ensuring quality education to students. We couldn't.
You just spoke about quality education. What exactly are the measures that have been put in place to ensure that these students actually get that quality education?
The world is very small. So at University of Lagos, one of the things we're very sure of is, if we're going to be globally competitive, and because education is not just about coming to school and listening to lectures, it's about interacting with the environment, we've been very, very deliberate about ensuring that we are very represented on the digital space. We have done a lot of MOUs for student exchanges, and our students do go out. We enroll them for international competitions, and many of them have gone. We also have provided, more recently, some internet courses to ensure that before they go out, some of them can have certifications. All these cost money. We've also improved our library resources. And if you go to the library right now, it's becoming more of a learning hub, not just somewhere you just go and read books, but that you have access to to different resources all over the world, and it's free. We've paid for them, and so we keep engaging people to make sure that we have the interface between the global world and Unilag. The other part of it is we've increased our engagement with the public sector, the private sector, so that we have, for example, by the time any student leaves, we're starting our EBIC program. It's part of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship program. We know that the percentage of students that get jobs is very small relative because of youth unemployment. So we're equipping our students to be more entrepreneurial and to be more innovative. We've created a lot of scenarios for hackathons and so on. If you go around the University of Lagos, you'll find lots of innovation hubs. We've started a program that every single student, by the time they leave here, would understand business skills. That is a fact. We're also developing the lab for technology and vocational skills, so that students can also, not just students though, we're also planning for our staff, so that staff also can learn skills that would help them to, hands-on skills. So we have the entrepreneurship innovation, we also have vocational that we're working on. So that we have started. So there are quite a number of programs that we've put in, things that would allow them to be registered and certificated, especially for those in certain professional courses, before they leave. So these things cost money. The university also, to make sure that the degree of the University of Lagos counts, we are part of the Times Higher Education ranking system. That's not cheap to be on that particular, but it's to put meat behind the certificate, because really, if you come from Harvard, everybody assumes you're great. That's the goal for Unilag, and we believe everybody needs to have an access to that.
Okay. So what are the plans for those students who cannot actually pay these tuition fees, or should I say university fees?
Obligatory fees.
Okay, thank you. Obligatory fees, and at the verge of dropping out, because over the weekend, during the meeting, you said that you will not allow any student to drop out. So are there plans? And if there are, what are they?
Okay, let me say, even when we were charging 21,000, there were students who could not pay. So there have always been indigent students, and University of Lagos has always provided for them. So it's not new. We have the indigent register, where we register all our indigent students, and depends on what they need. Those needs are met through a number of things. We have endowment scholarship, we have adopt a student, and this adopt a student is a drive by the DSA's office. We have work study, where they earn about, previously, because that was to cover their obligatory fees, they earn between 200, about 200,000, 200 naira per hour, and they are allowed to work up to a maximum of 10 hours in a week, and throughout the year, so they can make their money. And now it depends on the stage of the indigent student. So we do these as a routine. So it's not new. So what we've just done is opt how much they can earn and how much is required for students that are fully indigent. So we have students who are fully indigent. We've always taken care of them. We take care of their accommodation. We take care of their mandatory fees. We take care of their stipends. Some don't need more than just their mandatory fees and accommodation. Some just need mandatory fees. So it depends at the different levels. We also have stakeholders that provide 1 meal a day for students who are indigent. We've been doing that, and it hasn't stopped. So all these programs are ongoing, and what we've just done is increased how much they will be so they can meet the new fees.
Okay, that is actually great. Now, management have not had, will I say, the chance to actually tell their story, what it is in running a university such as this. So I would like you to actually tell us the challenges that you are facing in leadership, actually, on what it is or what it takes to actually run a university, because we know that electricity on campus is a big deal. So we would like us to give us insight on how it is done.
I think the first thing is to realize that the university is like a local government. The huge number of people that come in and go out. And the University of Lagos is a very old university, and with a lot of aging infrastructure. So there's a lot of costs in maintaining the facilities, beyond electricity, waste management. At the peak of any day, we have over 100,000 people on campus. Right now, I've forgotten how many cars come into the university and go out every day. So the maintenance cost of ensuring that things run, security, maintaining the roads, maintaining the facilities, ensuring that we have library resources, because the university is about knowledge. So you must have adequate library resources. You must have data. You must have the internet and Wi-Fi, because a lot of data now are We must have things for students to do. We take care of their hostels, and I'm saying the waste management, getting waste off this campus. Just managing our waste is another story totally that we're not even addressing. Water. The water works to the University of Lagos is very small. We don't get a lot of water. So we have boreholes that we're running. We're treating our water. So all these are the costs that we bear in the university. One thing you can be sure of, each faculty itself is running exams, having people there. They all have their challenges. Now, for a university to truly run, it's about knowledge. You're passing knowledge through from the faculty to the students, and they have to facilitate. So it means things like conference costs. It is actually mandatory that we make sure that our faculty are up to date, because the level and the quality of education is very dependent on faculty. So we do spend quite a lot of money trying to make sure that faculty are at the top of their game. And I can say that this became very intentional as we move forward. The other part of it is research. The government does give us some money for research, through TED Fund grants. But the issue of teaching in a university is premised on the fact that we can produce new knowledge. Producing new knowledge is a lot of research. So we have central research laboratories which are funded. We have other laboratories around here that things come up, that we are constantly funding. The overheads of a university are coming in from many parts. Now, the issue of research and new knowledge means minds must be colliding, if I must say that, not just internally, but across board. So traveling, bringing in lecturers from outside, some of these we have to pay for, because our job is to ensure that we are constantly feeding the information and the minds and exposing the minds. We're actually working in the mind space. So it's very, we looked at all these. Let me put it to you this way. Ghana has gone very far ahead of us, for example, because they've managed to make sure that the universities are so good that people can come in. When you do that, you can then further reduce prices for students. But you must first get the university to a good state. Right now, when we are doing the ranking, it's a lot of money that we have to spend so that we can achieve the requirements to be ranked. And that means we may have to pay money to do that. Recently, we've started international accreditation, because if we are internationally accredited, then we can bring in, students can come here, because then it's valid. You can say, it's not us saying it. We're accredited within Nigeria, but for us to bring in international students, which will further improve the quality of our certificate and the quality of our students, because then they are interacting better. Again, there are requirements that we have to do to bring our services up to a certain standard. And I think that's what Nigerians want. Nobody wants to send their children abroad. And I believe that irrespective of from your birth, you should be able to aspire to have a good education. The university should be a turning point in your life, not just we sort of maintain where you're coming from. When you come into the university, things should change for you. And not just in terms of knowledge, but in terms of your whole perception, your socialization, and so on. Those are things that should happen at this level as well. And we work on that. And pay for it.
Okay, ma'am. So it's been over 300 days in office since you stepped into the huge shoes of Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe. Tell us, how has it been so far?
Well, let me say I came in at a difficult time. I came in after an 8-month strike that had, in many ways, depleted a lot of our resources. I came in at a time lecturers were very demoralized, and to say that many are resigning per second. Last week, I think about 5 resigned. As I sat this morning, I saw 2 resignations. So I came in, you could say, I came in at a difficult time. And then I came in with the changes, when Nigeria's resources are poorer, oil subsidy has gone, but it's not all bad. It's not all challenging. So I've had to take some hard decisions, because I believe that the fact that things are tough does not mean we allow everything to go to waste. We'll all have to make sacrifices. But if the university is going to survive and grow, those sacrifices will be made. But our duty is to make sure that those who cannot increase their fees, pay the increased fees, do not fall behind. So, as I said earlier, no University of Lagos student will drop out because of these increased fees. We've always taken care of them. There were students who could not afford the 21. There will be a few more that cannot afford these. But the percentage, before I think the percentage was less than 2% or 3%. So it might go up, even if it goes to 10%. We can't cope with that. So we will do that. So that's not an issue at all. But since I came in, I had a number of agenda, and those agendas were across human beings, improving the quality of the people here, because the university is all about people, the faculty in particular. So training of the faculty, because that's how we're going to deliver on our mandate. Our infrastructure. So in the area of infrastructure, a number of things have started going out. We're already working on hostels. Some might be one of them might be completed this year, but we're also developing new hostels, both within and outside. And the work has already started. We're also looking at our reputation, and that's one of the things I said, the international accreditation. We've started the discussions, and we've been told what we need to do for us to be internationally accredited, so that people can judge us based on that. That's going to really put us on the world map. And the other one is our finances. Now, it was very clear that after 15 years of 20,000 per annum for university education, or 21, depends on, it wasn't working anymore. It hasn't worked for a very long time. And that's why the complaints, because what happens is when it's no longer working, the first thing that goes down is the ability to maintain your infrastructure. It's the first thing that shows. Then gradually it went down to, we can't even change the cars. Some cars for deans are 14 years old because we can't change them. So those kind of things are the first, is sort of the early warning signs. Then you see the infrastructure, of course, student hostels and so on. Then you start getting to your inability to pay for electricity. I mean, 2 months ago, they cut our light for the first time in a very long time. We managed to find money to pay. The month after, we got a warning that they might cut it again. We've been reducing our consumption, but the tariffs have been going higher. I understand tariffs are going to double. If we kept to 20,000, then students and staff and the laboratories will not function well, because then we would have to ration. We're already working on low energy supply. We're trying to get IPP. We use about, I think, 8 megawatts of electricity in this university. And if we're going to do anything, it has to be at least 10. So we've been working on that. The challenge has been that because we're very close to the water, building anything in University of Lagos is very expensive. So we started off planning for electricity, but by the time they had to sand fill and all that, the money was gone before, So we've got the land now, but we don't have the thing. So we're talking to a number of people around gas and other alternatives to electricity. Solar we're already using, and we can broaden that, but it cannot take care of the work we need to do. The laboratories, our heavy equipment, those can't be taken care of. So we're already working on how do we improve electricity generation and reduce the cost of that. We've looked at our very few little businesses we have, the guest houses, to improve their operations so that at least we can get something to help to subsidize some of the things we're doing. We've intensified our efforts with the private sector to bring them in to work with us, and quite a number of them have come in. We have the Sahara Group that's setting up an innovation center. We have other groups that are coming in to work and partner with the university. And we've been looking at our policies to make sure that it makes it easier. Some of the challenges we've had in the past have been legal documents that were not tight enough or did not take care of eventualities. But we're moving into a future that is particularly difficult, or should I say, difficult to determine, because it's changing so rapidly. So we really need to be very nimble. So we've been doing a lot around policies. We've also been looking at how do we improve our faculty. So there's a lot of faculty training. Recently, we started the Coursera, and lots of our staff were certificated in areas, and these were the Coursera courses we applied for. We paid for the licenses. Part of that was also to improve the quality of their work. For some, it was to give them certifications that they can start to use. And as they retire, they have something, beyond that we've worked in Unilag forever. And then we moved it on to the students. So, because some of them pay for Coursera on their own. We now have paid for it so that, and I think the first time we sent out a call, I think over 2,000 students applied. So we're doing that and we'll continue to do this to improve the quality of our students. Right now, the other part that is starting soon is the career support services, which we're doing in conjunction with one of the NGOs, and they're coming in to help with writing your CV, in etiquette, how to do an interview, and so on. All these are already in the pipeline. We would be starting once session starts. Yes, amongst others. I'm sure if you ask me more questions, I have a number of other things. And our EBIC program is starting in October. The EBIC is the Entrepreneurship Innovation Program, which starts with an online part. And we started it in a small pilot. So we're now deploying it to the whole university.
Okay, so what about the installment?
I've been talking about that so long that I just assumed I had said it. In July, I think the fee increase came out in July, on the 21st of July. Within a week, by the 28th of July, because we have been thinking about how do we help the indigent, we came up with the installment. And the idea is that you pay 50% at registration. And once you've paid that 50%, you can go in for the balloting. You can pay all if you can. If you can't, we know some people will need installment. And then you pay another 20% by exam, which is about 3 months later, first semester exams. And then when you're registering for your second semester, you pay the remaining 30%. And we have been sharing that since July, to students and to the public.
Okay, that's actually great. One of your goals is actually the agricultural agenda.
Yes. Could you please talk to us about that? Okay, the agricultural agenda. We've started work on it. Let me say that it was an agenda that we felt would probably be reaching very obviously will start to show up more by my second year. But what we've been doing right now is we've identified where we're starting, because we believe that Unilag has to be part of the food security, which is a major agenda going forward. And we're uniquely placed for urban agriculture. For us to be able to be pushing and improving how urban agriculture is carried out. So we've identified the position. We've actually we've had a committee that sat on it of people who are experts in this area. And it was an interesting thing to find out that there were many experts in different parts. And we've come up with a plan, and so we will start to deploy. We will start off here in our parks and gardens. We've actually gone there to look at it. But part of the, what I call my hairy goals is to get land from Lagos State, where we can support the Lagos State government, because I know they are also working on agriculture, and to support the Lagos government and Nigeria in our food security. 220 million people will need lots of food. And what we are looking at is if we can make Unilag the hub for this. I don't want to share everything on TV, but let's just say that the other part of it is, we've always done conservation. We have Mona monkeys, we have swampland. So it's going to be part of that whole conservation, urban agriculture thing. So quite a bit of it will be done within, controlled environment as we look at our traditional plants, and sometimes you could also say some of our forgotten plants, to see how we can bring them back, and then how we can increase the yield, improve soil. And being University of Lagos by the lagoon, aquaculture will be a major part in terms of fishing, and the blue economy will be a part of that as well.
Okay, that's actually a very laudable project that you're actually embarking on. So we would like to actually put audio visual into that project because we could actually render our services when it comes to agricultural, project series that we actually can actually come up with for your agricultural agenda.
Fantastic. I would love that. You see, each time I talk about my agriculture, we already have someone who's willing to partner with us, so I mean, and to set up, a part of that is soilless farming, because if you're working in small spaces, and the other part, which I didn't mention, is that apart from using it for research and training, it's also what we want to do is also for it to be part of retirement plans. Imagine if everybody, whether you live in a flat or not, can plant something, and you can get off-takers to take them. And whether you're still with us or not, you remain that part of the off-take. So you eat, and whatever you're not using, you put into the, the commercial part of it. So little bits come in, and creating wealth means you must have multiple streams of income, and that's what we want to encourage for our staff and our students.
It was a pleasure speaking with the first female and 13th substantive Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor Folashade Ogunshola, FAS. And she has reiterated that no student will drop out of the University of Lagos. And that's how much we can take on the program for this week. To watch more episodes of this program, do join us across all our social media platforms at Unilag on TV. I am Vina Peters. Bye for now. Hello there and welcome to the news review on Unilag TV. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed the student loan bill into law establishing a Nigerian Education Loan Fund from which interest-free loans will be given to indigent Nigerian youths, fulfilling his campaign promise to liberalize the funding of education. This law takes immediate effect and modalities are being worked out to begin disbursement in September, as the president has directed that the first recipient must be available for the 2023 and 2024 academic session. Now, this ordinarily should be cheerful news, but concerns are being raised. And concerns have been raised by some who says this policy has been done like 4 decades ago. Now, this action is viewed to be a preliminary step towards implementing tuition fees in federal public universities and others. Now, Tinubu has made this clear that the notion of tuition fees for higher education is no longer feasible. Now, additionally, various officials and university administrations have subtly suggested that tuition will be introduced as early as the upcoming 2023 and 2024 academic session. Today, we will be focusing on the student loan bill and what it means to university students. To have this discussion with me is the associate editor of the Nation's newspaper. I am Vina Peters. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you just joined in, it's a news review on Unilag today. And remember to follow us across all social media platforms at Unilag on TV. Today we'll be discussing the student loan bill and what it means to university students. With me in the studio is Mr. Adekunle Yusuf, the associate editor of the Nation newspaper. Welcome to the program, Mr. Adekunle.
I'm glad to be here. Good afternoon.
Okay, before I, give in my questions, I would like to know your honest opinion about the student loan bill.
Whether I support it or
Whichever way.
I support it, but I have a lot of reservations.
Okay. And you can please lay them out.
Okay. I'm not happy with the state of the Nigerian university system, tertiary education system. It is almost collapsed. If it's collapsing, some people will say it has collapsed already, but I believe it's not yet totally collapsed, but it's about to collapse completely. And something radical needs to be done to arrest the dangerous drift. And every effort that is brought to the table, we may need to welcome such an idea, but scrutinize it critically to be able to be sure whether we are moving from frying pan to fire. You get my point? But this one is one of such initiatives. I support it, but I have a lot of reservations, which I will discuss as we go on.
Okay, now let's talk about the process of actually taking this loan. So what is the process like?
That's one of my reservations. When I look at the process, you see, we love to copy the United States, our political system, our everything. Then if we love America and their style, then we should actually go the full hog and copy their style, not do it our own way. You said people that we assessed that loan should not be from the rich, backgrounds. And by your definition of rich backgrounds, they must never, that potential beneficiary shouldn't have anything above 500,000 naira in a year. Invariably, they must not have anything up to 30,000 in a year.
Okay.
Or the two parents of the potential beneficiary, the two, not one, shouldn't have up to 500,000 naira. Remember, 30,000 is the minimum wage in Nigeria.
Sure.
So when you say the combined parent of a potential beneficiary shouldn't have up to the minimum wage in a year, that to me is very, discriminatory. We don't need that. Some people may come from rich homes, but their parents believe that they should fend for themselves. If they think so, they do that in the US. Children of big men and women are not trained by their father. You train yourself. Exactly. The moment you are out of the college, that is secondary school, the whole thing belongs to you. So that's why you see them, assessing loans up and down. Here, your parents, I think that's a fallout of our culture. Your parents are responsible for your upbringing, including education, up to university. Some people up to PhD. But here, you are now saying anyone who wants anything above 500,000 naira cannot access the loan. How much is 500,000 in a highly devalued, economy and currency that we use?
Okay, since you're already on the requirement, let me read out some of the requirements so that our viewers can actually listen. So the first requirement says that an applicant or his parents must provide tax clearance. That's the first requirement. Then the second says the applicant or his parents must be earning a total income less than 500K a year. Now, if we do the maths, that is 500K means that the husband and the wife's earning will be less than 41,000 naira. Now, that is like 20,000 naira each. And for us to have a tax clearance, please correct me if I am wrong, you must be earning the minimum wage, which is 30,000 naira. So if a parent is actually having a salary of 20,000 naira, that means there is no tax clearance, and automatically such person doesn't qualify for that loan.
Yes.
And now, in his manifesto, which is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he says that this loan is making this loan accessible regardless of the background of the child. Now, having said that and having put down these requirements, I already think that there is already a discrimination. Please, Mr. Dekone, please respond to that.
Yes, that's why I said it is discriminatory. And when you said tax clearance, and the people that we assess these loans are people below the tax, payment, policy, then what do you do? So these are some of the ambiguities in that law. You get my point? But I believe that can be taken care of through amendments and all that. You understand my point?
Yes.
Then, by restricting people who can access the loans, you have disenfranchised a whole lot of potential beneficiaries, the people who really need this money. How much? Why would you say 500,000 naira a year? That is not necessary. I'm sure if some of these things are taken care of, you will have many people. There will be higher, and increase in enrollment in our public tertiary institutions. But that's just one good news. There are other things that are within the same law that will make that good news, a nullity. Yes, you said when you assess this loan after your NYSC, 2 years.
2 years after NYSC,
you must start paying back.
Now, as regards that, is there already a placement? When I say placement, I mean job placement for such students, so that they will be able to pay back the loan.
In a country of around 40, 40% unemployment rate, if such a thing exists, you wouldn't have that humongous, number of people in the job market. You wouldn't have that. So what we need to do, the government need to go the whole hog. The tertiary education system in Nigeria is crying for reforms. There are a lot that you need to do. This loan scheme that the government wants to do is like you want to build a beautiful edifice on a very weak foundation. It will not gel. And this law is what is even beautiful in it anyway. A law that took long years to pass is fraught with so many ambiguities, errors. And what I mean by error, why would you put in, for me to assess the loan, I must know this, which is discriminatory. Then too, this category of people the government has in mind, if you read that law very well, are not the people that will have access to lawyers, not the people that will have access to top civil servants or top judicial officers or all those things that they require. And now you said if you default after, that is, you didn't pay, that's their own way of defining default. What happens? You go to jail, or option of payment, fine of 500,000 if you default, or somebody assists you in defaulting. You see, these are things that worry me a lot, because look at other countries. For example, I love to cite the example of the US and the UK. Those are two countries we are closest to in terms of ideas that we espouse in our public policy. In the US, nobody is discriminated. Or can you say Barack Obama falls in the category of people who will not make but he used, the loan to go to the university. Even as a sitting president, he was still paying back then. I think by now he must have completed
The payment.
In the UK, they give you 25 years. Nigeria is giving its, youth 2 years after NYC. You must start paying back 10% of your earnings. In a country where the take-home pay of the average worker cannot take them to the bus stop. To me, some people didn't think properly. I haven't seen any sign of deep thinking, behind, the promulgation of that law. Because if you do, there are a lot of things you want to interrogate. That throw it open. If you cannot throw it open, please don't put in there that your parents should not make up to 500,000. Believe me, anybody whose parent cannot make 500,000, I don't know how they will send that. They will be able even to send that kind of person to school. And with 500,000 a year for two parents, believe me, I wonder how they will be able to feed. Because that's a miserable thing. Calculated in today's naira, it's been so devalued that I don't know what is more devalued than our naira. So now you're talking about 500,000. That aspect should be expunged. So you can go on and on. Then repayment. That's another clumsy thing. We said people should. How do we repay? Remember, this is not the first time we've had schemes like this before. Have we interrogated, how they failed? What led to their collapse? There are many big men in our country today. They went to schools abroad because of such loans, enacted during Gawan regime.
Exactly.
Yes, 1972. Many people assess the loans went to universities. Many of them preferred UK at that time. America was not the fact among our elites at the time. It was UK. When they came back, what happened? Did anyone pay? No, nobody paid. There's another recent one. What happened? The same fate. So every attempt to help the poor, you have to think it through, not just populist approach that you just want to get applause. No, think it through. This is our country. Can this work? I don't know how it can work because we don't have that kind of database. Interrogate, any HOD or any. I'm just trying to see the small, section. A university. Ask the vice chancellor of any university, how many students do you have? Many of them will just give you figures. They don't have the exact figure. What I'm trying to say is the database, the digital system to help you to do this. We have not put such things in place. And now, when people now finish their education, finish their NYSC, do you know in Nigeria today, many of those people you call Okada riders are actually graduates? Many of those people who do Keke Marwa, who do these small buses, that many of them are graduates. Some don't even work. I have seen many people, roadside rice sellers, small graduates. That is to say, people who have not really made use of their certificate in the real sense of that word. So how did they pay back? So would you now go and clamp them into prison that, you used our money and you didn't pay us? The committees you are setting up, who takes care of that? Is there no, and you not throwing it open to political interferences, which is rife in our system? Now, in the university, some people come to the university and complete their studies without ever seeing who their vice chancellor is. That many people don't know who the vice. Now, the vice chancellor must sign everything. The dean of student affairs must sign everything. You are creating a brand new, bureaucracy. How does that work? I don't know. No, how does that work? In a university, you see, we need so many things to do in our universities. The infrastructure in all public universities are dilapidated. They are decayed. What do we do about that? There is no conversation around that. Those who work in the universities, the workload versus remuneration. Who is thinking about that? Is Nigeria fair to those who work in the universities? You want to destroy them. You want to kill them. Nobody is talking about that. So there is a lot we need to talk about. Anyone who has, gone through the Nigerian universities and is lucky to school abroad, you will burst into tears that we don't have a system. I was lucky to have studied in the US, and when I look around, I shake my head that this is not a university. And they could not have been the dream the forefathers had when they were creating all this. All the big structures in most universities were built many, many years ago. The new ones you are having, what are they? What's the quality? So we need to look at the student population now, compare them to 30, 40 years ago. Is Nigeria as a country thinking in the right direction? So if you have a student loan, it's good, but build it on something. Let there be some other things you should have. Then why the rush? You said this thing should start in September. Why the rush? No, why the rush? No, why the rush? Have you engaged in the stakeholders? We need to. Because the government will not be the final implementers of that program. They may set the machinery, put the machinery in motion and all that. But the university stakeholders, the polytechnics, the monotechnics, you must engage them. Let's put ideas on the table, then work in our system, fashion out something that can truly benefit the country and be sustainable. Not just a one-off thing that I want to. No. Something that can change us for good, not jumping from frying pan to fire.
Okay, let's talk about the availability of funds, because in the Act it says that loans will be given when funds are available. I think this is another clause. So please.
You see, look at that fund. It said, I think 1% from money generated by Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Yes, FIRS.
Nigeria Immigration Service, and so on and so forth. That's where the money will come from. So more or less, you copy the idea behind Ted Fund. In recent years, Ted Fund is the most beautiful idea, that has, sustained the tertiary education system in our country. By now, we wouldn't have anything anymore. But the same Ted Fund, the beautiful idea, do you know the story today? It's in a mess. Go and just take a small time of your time. Go and check what is happening in Ted Fund. So why don't we first, dig into the rot we call Ted Fund before we create another, potential. You see, go and see what is happening in Ted Fund. It's in a mess. And a lot of money goes in there. Now another Ted Fund, so to say, is about to be created. A lot of money will also go in there. How you manage it? Nigerians are Nigerians, and we know who we are. So how do we? Because corruption is not just in the federal level. It is everywhere in Nigeria. Everywhere. So we think, hey, ministers, president, governors, commissioners, senators. No, 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 no. Even in the civil service, in the universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, everywhere, even in the private sector. So corruption is heavy in our system. So how do we ensure that this is free from corrupt tendencies, that seem to be another culture in our country? So we need to do something about that as well. So, but you now said when money is available, but you said every applicant must get it within 30 days. Must. That's the word you used in that law. So, when have we become that efficient that you treat millions of applications? Because I'm sure you will have millions of applications. In fact, I'm sure many people will lie that their own parents are dead, that they are not even making any money, that their parents are jobless, just to be able to access them. Because you said tax clearance. What are people who have dead parents? Where do they get tax clearance? What was this? You see, too numerous ambiguities in that law. And I've not seen any sign of a rush thing since the law, started in 2016. The bill started in 2016. So gradually, before it was passed recently. And when the Speaker of the House of Reps then, Femi Gbajabiamila, when he delivered the convocation lecture here, but I think a year or two ago, he laid open that thing, and people didn't interrogate him. They thought it was some beautiful thing coming. He sponsored that bill. It was his bid. So now see what is happening.
Because I actually feel this bill is actually coming at the wrong time. It is a right thing, but I feel it's coming at the wrong time. Alright guys, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, it's still the news review on Unilag TV. We'll be right back. It's still the news review on Unilag TV. Welcome to Unilag TV. And yes, and I still have Mr. Adekunle with me on the program. So, behind the scenes, we were talking about how much a student can actually borrow in terms of this student loan. And Mr. Adekunle, please.
I didn't see any cap in that law that we have read. I didn't see any cap on what beneficiary can take. I think it will be determined by and that's why it is rooted through the university, system, or through the head of rector of a polytechnic and all that. So it is basically for tuition. So it's not money for you to lavish, to enjoy and live big. No, it's for your tuition to help you.
Okay, now tuition, is it just for public universities?
No, it's for both. It's not only for public. It's for both.
Okay, now, so because there are hints now that universities should generate funds for their universities. So now, in other words, universities are actually going to be increasing their school fees. So when you say the loan now is specifically for their tuition fees, how much will the university be requesting as their tuition fees, and how much should the students borrow? Should the student borrow only for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or his whole tenure in school?
Well, that has not been. There is a committee in place. They are working on it because they want to start in September. They want the first batch of beneficiaries to be announced in September. How feasible that is, I don't know. To me, it's not feasible. But let's assume it works, because sometimes a miracle worker can just come into the system and start changing us. Maybe that may happen. But for now, I don't think so. Now, you are talking about how much a person can take. I didn't see any. But what I'm seeing that is lurking behind the scene is that's like university of autonomy, so to say. It can be qualified, but university autonomy.
Exactly.
That is to say, government will stylishly, reduce the subventions or whatever it gives in the universities.
Okay.
And that means school fees will jump up.
Exactly.
That is one is a certainty. To me, even though I attended this university and as a poor, guy, self-funding, student, and if you ask me today, this current system is not sustainable. Nigeria does not have universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education that are befitting the status of a big country like Nigeria. What we have are glorified centers that just, these are not universities. Go to even smaller African countries. Go and see what they cost universities. If you go abroad, you will be amazed. So we need to think about cost sharing. That's the soul of university education. You have to share the cost. The prices, tuition, not price, I'm sorry. We have to go up. Then this idea government has come up with, we have to review a lot of things. Then the way we run the universities, everything we have to change. Admission, enrollment, everything, remuneration, everything we have to change. We cannot continue like this. There is no public university in Nigeria that can tell you that from its own internally generated revenue, it is building amphitheaters or building auditoriums, building it. They cannot. They don't have the money. Or if they have it, somebody is embezzling it. So you have to now make recourse to third fund, and third fund is mired. I don't want to speak about third fund on this program. So when you now take a look at it, is this the university system that those who are in charge of Nigeria today, from the highest to the lowest level, is this the kind of universities they attended? No, this is not. The system has been is collapsed. Go to the halls of residence. What you see there, you think animals are living there. Go to the classrooms. In this age and time, that shouldn't be. So we need to rejig a total, wholesale reform of our university system. And people who are afraid of tuition, school fees, should think twice. If you want a university degree that has no value, if you want the one that has value, because things cannot continue like this.
Okay. You said something concerning school fees being skyrocketed in terms of the fees being increased in different universities now. My question is, where is the place of education subsidy?
Well, there's no way. Even go to the US and the UK, government still subsidizes education, but there's a limit.
Because in his speech, he says that government will no longer be responsible
For what?
for education. What is it called now? For education fees now for the students.
That is at the heart of cost sharing when it comes to higher education.
Okay.
For example, there has to be a percentage that must come from the students, whether the money is sourced from their parents or through the student loan. The current level of funding, I'm too sure, is no longer sustainable. When it was a popular thing, how many students were in our universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education? Today, when I come to Unilag, I shake my head because this was not the same university I attended, years back. I'm talking about the crowd in every class. This university, go back and read about the original funding. It wasn't created to be a Dugbe market, university. No, it's small, compact, beautiful universities. That time, even up to early 90s, that all Jaja, you see white people living there, sparkling clean. This same university, Jaja all, you see white, whether they are from South Africa, they are from foreign students. How many foreign students do you have today? No, how many? And if foreign students don't come to Unilag, where would they go? Village universities? Federal universities in the village. You want to be in the city where things happen. So, would you be proud to live? So, you have to think about it. So, it is inevitable. Tuition increment, it is inevitable. But that's not the only thing the government should do. They should do more. The idea about the philosophy underpinning it, public education, we need to have a conversation around it. We need to engage all the stakeholders. The way you remunerate people who work in the university, are you fair to them? The workload, are you fair to them? And we should think about that too, not only the tuition fees.
Okay, Mr. Dekune, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I could actually keep on going, but we are behind time.
Thank you very much. I'm always glad to be.
All right. And that's our show on the program today. It's been a pleasure having you stick around with us. Please join us same time, same station. I am Vina Peters, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Welcome to the News Review. I am Vina Peters. Today we will be focusing on university education in Africa. We will be examining the current rankings of African universities on a global scale and how a foundation wants to in improving these rankings. As we know, higher education plays a crucial role in shaping the future leaders and innovators of a nation. But for many young people on the continent of Africa, there are questions being asked about the quality and competitiveness of the education on offer. According to a recent report, Nigerians spent an estimated $11.6 billion on foreign education between 2019 and 2022. This is a significant investment in education, but it also highlights the lack of confidence that many Nigerians have in the quality of education available at home. Unfortunately, the rankings of African universities don't paint a promising picture. According to Times Higher Education, the University of Cape Town is the highest ranked university in Africa, but it comes in at a global ranking of 160. Meanwhile, leading institutions like University of Ibadan and University of Lagos in Nigeria fall between 401 and 500. As of today, only 3 African universities are in the top 300 globally, and they are all located in South Africa. But the African Heritage Foundation is determined to change this. Their goal is to bring 25 African universities into the top 300 by 2030. So, how does the African Heritage Foundation plan to achieve this impressive feat in just 7 years? And what impact could improving the rankings of African universities have on the continent's development? Joining me to explore these questions and more is the founder of Africa Heritage Foundation, Ambassador Tunde Adeniji. But we'll take a quick break, and when we return, you get to meet the ambassador. We'll be right back.
What's poppin'? Welcome back. This is still G Sport on Unilag TV, and now it is time for Shot O'Clock. Let the games begin, and I feel like I should go first because I'm the host. So yeah,
Go first. Sorry, what you crowd much?
yes, me.
Crowd much.
Dance. Wizzy boy, make me dance. Daddy, oh, make me dance. Hey. Fire now.
Royalty. Isn't this perfect? Okay, the one in my head is I will never be royals, royals.
Yeah. Drink. Drink up. Drink.
Take a shot.
Okay.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, it's still the news review on Unilag TV. Do follow us across all social media platforms at Unilag on TV to watch all our previous episodes. Like I said earlier before I went on a break, we are talking about the Africa Heritage Foundation and how it is focusing on improving the global ranking on African universities. I said we have the founder of the African Heritage Foundation, Ambassador Tunde Adetunji, who is also a doctor of philosophy and professor of anthropology, working with UN on human resources and capacity building for sustainable development in Africa. Welcome, Ambassador Tunde. I hope I can call you that.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be at your studio today. I'm delighted to be here.
Okay. So, before we talk about Africa Heritage Foundation,
Yes.
I would like to talk more about you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so from my research, you seem to be a Pan-Africanist.
Yes.
Okay, most of your work and achievements are centered around Africa and Africans in diaspora. As a
Absolutely.
matter of fact,
Yes.
you single-handedly took the flag of the state of Georgia
Yes.
to Addis Ababa.
That's right.
Now, that is the Union Secretariat.
Yes.
Now, what motivated that?
Okay. So many reasons.
Okay.
They say hope deferred make the mind sick. But when the desire are met, it's a tree of life. Man's life can be compared to a journey. Just as a journey must have a destination, so also it's necessary for one to have an aim in life. Without a purpose to work for, a purpose to live for, and if at worst a purpose to die for, man can never be better than a brute. I took this assignment right away from the beginning of my life. The image of my people. I demonstrated it during the presidency of Nelson Mandela. I mounted an exhibition, Celebrate Africa Journey Through the Ages, at the Sosomani Village of Stars in South Africa, to christen the release of Nelson Mandela. Now to actually dismantle apartheid. South Africa is the last country in Africa whereby they gained the independence. And now see Africa. Now most countries have actually metamorphosed from bygone empires and kingdom to countries. Nigeria got our independence in 1960. We have Ghana in 1957. But the struggle continues when they incarcerated Mandela for 27 years.
Yeah.
They want to release him and say, go back to your home, sit down on your table, take your cold water, but keep your mouth shut. Say, no, that's not freedom. He spent 27 years. We all liberate South Africa. Nigeria played a role. I remember during that time, you have to contribute your money, your wages to the dismantling of apartheid. So I thought it wise. I became an instructor in Switzerland and I work in 110 cities in 57 countries. Now that gave me the opportunity to see the globe as, you know, the whole world as a global village. Then I thought what I could do in my own little way to create an opportunity, taking Africa to the horizon. That came to my mind, and I put the exhibition together and told the story of the entire 55 nations of Africa. When I did that, I said, this is brilliant. I took the same thing to the Olympics in 1996. That when people are talking about the people of Africa, they are looking at them in sport, in everything. Where are these people from? Let's talk the story. That it became the sinus of the international community. From there, let us institutionalize this particular theory so that it became a case study. Then there will be a legacy, the sustainability. Then, in America, before I traveled to United States, we all know what the 50 states of America is. We know the city, we know everything. Nobody knows what even they were calling Africa a country. They don't know where Nigeria is. They don't know where Kenya is. They don't know where Senegal is. They don't know where DRC. They don't know even what makes South Africa region. Okay, let's educate the world that Africa is the cradle of civilization and the birth of mankind. And Africa is the culture of all cultures. Now that in my mind, prepare the idea that go into the world and create a theme. Africa matters. Africa is the future. And without Africa, the world is a vacuum.
So what exactly did that achieve?
Well, that what has achieved today is that Africa is the engine room of the world in the global resources, in the emerging marketing opportunity of the world. And no continent, no country, how powerful they cannot do without Africa. Look at China. China has problem of overpopulation. I work in Hong Kong before China released Hong Kong to the British released Hong Kong to China. That was in 1999. My office is in the Kowloon side. Now, China is looking at we have overpopulation. How do we manage ourselves? How do we manage our economy? Then they were looking for answer. Come the answer, America outsourced goods and services to China. They gave them the antidote, the power to see how they can now globalize, how they can now steal from the ideas. You took it. Look at China today. They plan themselves across the world and they are in charge of the world economy. Whether we like it or not, China is already holding the economy, the ace in now controlling the economy of the world. That's a challenge to the United States of America. Now, having said that, when I look at these people come over, we have the Francophone, the Anglophone, the Lusophone, the Italian that colonized Africa. What's their mission? The mission is just to scramble for Africa. That's why we have the Anglophone Africa, we have the Francophone Africa, we have the Lusophone Africa, we have the Italian-controlled Africa, we have the German and the Belgians. But what are they looking for? They are looking for our resources to make their economy. Remember, in my introduction, I live in Switzerland.
Yes.
All the 26 cantons of Switzerland, from St. Moritz, Arosa, Davos Plus, St. Margretine, Solothurn, Lugano. I lived there. I developed the 26 cantons. I'm in Nigeria. I'm from Africa. And taking all the theory and the didactics, the methodology of how they strengthen their economy, and I'm teaching that. I speak German, I speak French, I speak English. Then they used me and said, well, if they use me to achieve this, the knowledge I gain from here, let me transform it to redesign the status quo of my own heritage, my own continent, my own country, my own people, so that there will be a sustainable development. We want to be seen as people that are living but not existing.
Okay, so quickly, let's talk about the foundation.
Yes.
Okay, so what is this all about? What is the Africa Heritage Foundation all about?
The Africa Heritage Foundation. That's a good question. People name foundation to buttress their names, to promote their ego. I don't go that way.
Okay.
I look at the continent of Africa. What is happening to Nigeria is happening to Kenya. What is happening to South Africa is happening to Senegal. Okay. What is happening to Morocco or Egypt is happening to Cape Verde or DRC or Uganda or Ethiopia. Let us now brand Africa into a continent of possibilities. Let's now promoting Africa matters to the world. Then I form a foundation. With that, I went into the university to institutionalize the value of Africa. That if people don't know what the value of Africa is the cradle of civilization and the birth of mankind. Anything that is done in the world today starts from Africa. The university education starts with Zankore University in Timbuktu. That's where we have Mansa Kanko Musa Sundiata and all of them. Look at the theory. When you still do the research, the peer review, the archaeological aspect brought what is happening. How do they go into education? It starts in Timbuktu. Sankore University. Now, we can have the best university like Carnegie Mellon University, like Stanford University in the world today, but where does the education start? It starts in Africa. Now said to me, we have a job. If people of my own generation cannot redesign the status quo, cannot change the narrative, then Africa will be no more. We will have either Asian Africa or European Africa in the next century. I want to be a think tank. I saw what legacy that Martin Luther King laid in the area of civil rights. I saw what legacy Nelson Mandela laid in the area of dismantling apartheid. I saw what Maslow in the area of needs and want. I want to propose a theory that from brain drain we should graduate to brain gain. It is by then we will transform ourselves as a people, our area as a country, our continent as a continent of envy, that the world will acclaim. And that's exactly the major thing, is to bridge the gap and build the bridge between the indigenous, the intimate, and the distant Africans.
Okay, now, so you say the foundation now intends to bridge the gap.
Yes.
And it also intends to improve African universities' ranking globally.
Yes.
Now, was there a specific event that made you think, okay, let's do this?
Yes. Absolutely. When I went to the Olympics in 1996, one of the major events that sprang up is that people don't know more about who Africa and what Africa is. Let us now explain to the international community. But I'm looking for an avenue, an opportunity whereby people will listen to my sermon, to my theory. Then I picked the Olympics. I was in Atlanta in 1996. Chioma Ajunwa won. This lady is, I think is a police officer or something. Chioma Ajunwa, who won the gold. I jump, the long jump. In the Olympics, they will give you maybe three attempts to prove your best. This lady jumped only once. The official said, please go and sit down. You already won the gold. Other people are competing, They never beat Chioma Ajunwa. Our boys went to the Olympics. I was there in the university stadium in Athens. They won the gold. That's when we have Kanu Nwankwo and JJ Okocha and all of them. They beat Brazil, they beat Argentina, they beat everybody. I was there right away at the last stadium. I was very proud. Now we are proving who we are. Now, it's not enough. I think Jim Nwobodo was the Minister of Sport by then. Alhaji Ari Adejuma was the chairman of IOC. I run a museum for Africa, the best in Africa, on Ikorodu Road. It's called Aragon Gallery. And some of these people that create works. Now, I look at them and I put a proposal together. Sports and culture are inseparable. Now, with that team, I went to the Olympics to prove a point. So when they watch Chioma Ajunwa, when they watch Okocha, and when they watch Kanu Nwankwo, where are these guys coming from? Who are they? Let's trace their origin. Then the ambassador of Nigeria is called Azam Adamu. He came from Washington. Then they gave me Africa House, very close to Marriott Marquis, to start exhibition. From there begin the story. When they leave the Olympic Village, they come to the Africa House. Then the lecture begins. They tell me what is Nigeria. Tell me what is Senegal. Tell me what is Congo. Tell me what is South Africa. Tell me what is Lesotho. Tell me what is Ethiopia. Then I became an institution. Then there is a group called the 100 Black Men of America. It's a big association. They came over every minute to my lecture. I don't know what they are trying to do. So after the Olympics, they said, man, you're not leaving. You're not going to anywhere. I said, what? I'm going back to my country. No, You have to go from one house to the other in America, from one institution to the other. We want to learn about this. We want to know more because this is who we are. The story begins. Then institution continued to call me. I became a lecturer at Clark Atlanta University, Kennesaw State University, University of Georgia, Georgia State University, University of Chicago. All of them call me one way or the other. Then I find it very tough. CNN came, they come with the idea, want to know more and learn more about Africa. I say, yes, it's possible that I am here. What can you do in order to globalize what Africa is? Well, we are ready because we are beginning to know the real facts. That was all the whole thing. Now, my ideology is to institutionalize Africa and make it a case study for the generation and generation to come. It works. Because today, anybody that hear about Africa, they value Africa like this. America has a lot of rethinking because they did not really grab Africa when it's necessary. Liberia is the only ally of America in Africa. And Liberia was doing well because all the governors that run, officiate and rule Liberia came from United States. But look at what Liberia really became during the time of Samuel Doe and all other people that ruled Liberia. But now it's now the time of the Chinese. They came with the dangling the carrot. But they are now proposing Africa economic slavery, not development. Not development at all. The length and breadth of Africa is now looking at Chinese. The Chinese are evacuating the resources of Africa to China. They are bringing back to sell our own resources back to us because we are the emerging market of the world. So where are we going? The entire Africa need to rethink now. Our politicians need to rethink now. They are living in brain drain because going to take a loan from IMF, from World Bank, from all this, you don't need to do that. Use what you have to get what you need. Treat ourselves very well. Don't look at yourself as the opportunist that God has given to parade money. No, we don't need your money. We don't need your houses. We don't need your popularity. We need you to invest in the interest of the generation and generation and generation to come. That's what I stand for.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we will be talking about the memorandum of understanding that was signed with Anchor University. Don't go anywhere. welcome, guys. We're still talking with Ambassador Tunde Adetunji. Okay, so before I went on a break, I said we're going to talk about the memorandum of understanding that was signed with Anchor University.
Absolutely.
So, what were the details exactly in that memorandum of understanding?
Yes, ever before the memorandum of understanding, in your introduction,
Yes.
you serialize some of the unique university and the standard in the world. The only university we can talk about is in South Africa, University of Cape Town. But they still don't measure to the standard of Carnegie Mellon University or Stanford University. I've been there. I saw the standard. I've been to Kyoto University in Tokyo, the University of Puerto Rico, Rio de Janeiro University, and all those universities, Harvard and everything. I saw exactly what they are doing, the Center of Excellence. Now, we were looking for, when I joined the United Nations UNDESA on Sustainable Development for the year 2030, part of my theory is, let us take the education of Africa to the highest of its calling. How do we do that? Until when we look at the standard of other universities, institutions in the world, and commensurate that with the standard of what we have right here, we are not doing anything. Then, having lectured in several universities and having seen what you're doing is not a rocket science or something, rocket science. Is the mindset that I want to do the same thing for Africa. Then I said to me, to achieve sustainable development by the year 2030, as promoted by the UN, we need to start with our institution. These are the people that will now take us from the parking lot to the palace of education, of sustainable development, of human resources and capacity building, of living. Then I said, okay, I will invest interest with my foundation in building a coalition of within the universities, so put them in the circle of now uniting them together so that we can have student exchange program, faculty exchange program, train the trainer program, then exhibition, international relations, different programs, different teaching, different lecturing, and also creating an ambience of a global initiative that will make us to rub our heart, our mind together, our shoulder together. Then the talents, the creativity, the skill of these young folks, they will live their dream. That was how my life is, to invest my knowledge, my legacy into education and bring the generation that will sustain us.
Okay. As a University of Lagos alumni,
Yes.
I am curious.
Yes.
Why Anchor University?
Oh, good question. University institution always exist with the help of the philanthropist and with the help of the organizations. The federal universities, they saddle themselves into federal regulations. And institutions like Unilag, University of Ibadan, we look at them as the cradle of university institutions in Nigeria, but they are failing. Why will ASU and the government have tussle and throw our students out for almost a year? You can lose money and get it back. When you lose time, you cannot get it back. And when you lose mind, nobody is existing again. They create uncertainty to our education. They create an ambiguous solution that can never be solved to our society. They create imminent problems to leadership of this country by doing that. Then, when we don't have students that can sustain the ideology of the founding father of this nation, I'm talking of the founding father, talking about Obafemi Awolowo, talking about Zik, Nnamdi Azikiwe, talking about Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. They did their best at their time. But look at the standard now. Is it growing or is it falling?
So are you trying to say that neither federal universities or state university will benefit from your foundation?
They will benefit if they reverse from brain drain into brain gain. Let me break it down. The federal university is the institution that we first of all look into. But when we see the bureaucracy of managing federal university, it scares us. You want to propose something here, they say take it to the federal level and discuss. Oh no, it has to be here. No. We want something to be managed, to be guided by the right people who will do the right thing. Unilag is a very good university where we want to do something, but let us demonstrate with the faith-based initiative, the private initiative, that we will be able to see transparency. We'll be able to see how they manage what they have and bring result. That's why we start with
So
Anchor
if given the
University.
opportunity, you guys will actually have a collaboration and partnership.
Of course, why not? We are ready. I talked to the authority of Unilag. We're ready. This is a good university whereby we want this to be the center of thinking, whereby people, we want to do something in the continent, let's go to the university. Let's look at the think tank. Let's look at the people, the philosopher that we take in the next 10 years, 20 years. This is where this country is going to. And take it or leave it from me. When you propose a program here, is a checks and balances. That's what is happening outside there. Even your university, your television here is different from commercial television, because you come into the core of reality. You say it as it is. You're not faking anything. This is where they should come. In other area of human endeavor, university should be the center of excellence for everything. And if we can see that, why not? The world is open. The opportunity is there. So we are ready. Unilag, here we are.
Okay, so let's talk about funding.
Yes.
Because we know that to achieve what you're talking about, you're going to spend a whole lot of money.
Absolutely.
So how do you intend to go about it?
Well, I made it in my statement. University institutions are supported and guided and funded by organizations all over the world, philanthropists all over the world, individuals that have amassed money, alumni. The alumni of this university alone can take this university to anywhere, because they are successful people all over the world. But who will gather them together? I will gather them together. And when we do that, the purpose of doing that is to now create a center of excellence. Some of them could be champions of industry, could be president of a country, could be a minister in the World Bank and everything. But where is their nucleus? If this university does not bring them up, will they be where they are? Give back to the community. Let me make a kind of analysis. We are parents. We give back to our children. When the children is going to school, it's your responsibility. When he's doing this, it's your responsibility. Now, your children that now become a world star, will he forget you?
No.
Will he? Look at Messi. He won the World Cup. He went to his mother and said, Mama, you did well for me. Because look at that. That instant will all be there. The same thing should happen. When you look at the list of the alumni of this university, they are all over. They are leaders in the world. You may not even know them where they are, but their work resonates. So, I will get the money. I will get the money, and I want to get the money and they use it well for that purpose. That's where we are.
Aside funding,
Yes.
what other challenges could you possibly encounter in order to achieve this goal?
the challenges that we encounter, number one, is the area of accountability, is the area of transparency, is the area of sincerity and honesty, because it's only a teamwork that can make the dream work. There are three kinds of people: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those that wonder why and how it happens. Part of my job at the UN is to moderate program Africa Solutions to Africa Problems. If we do not solve our own problem ourselves, nobody is going to solve it for us. So let's start. Charity begins at home. The problem we encounter is the area of sincerity and transparency. I don't need to be here all the time. Mine is just to make a phone call. The grant is coming. The project is coming. This particular program is coming. The people on the ground knows exactly what to do, and they deliver. Once you have that trust, things will go well. We don't want people to sabotage. We don't want people to politicize. We don't want people to manipulate. Because we are not doing it for ourselves. We are doing it for the future of the generation of this country. And mind you, you can only become more successful when you help others to be successful.
That's very true. Bearing that in mind, I know you have done a whole lot of work
Yes.
with Africans in diaspora.
Yes.
So, what role do they contribute in improving African university rankings globally?
Well, this is a very tall other question, and I appreciate you ask these questions. Many people that left the shore of Africa, different people get abroad to the diaspora through different means, and the first objective is for them to secure their life, to secure their well-being. But beside that, I always tell them, without heritage, there is no horizon. You may leave the shore of Africa looking for greener pastures, but you already have greener pasture in you. Develop that greener pasture in you. It's a tall order now to galvanize and also to make some of them realize that even though the situation that takes you abroad may not be as good as you want it, but you already got abroad. Make the best out of the situation and come back to realization that you must have to remember, I want it to be out of Africa, back to Africa. But it's tough. That is one of the assignments I put myself in. This is the 40th year anniversary, but I'm very successful because everywhere I speak, people want to listen. And everywhere I say, they now realize, yes. To be honest with you, let me say this in this station today. The best president that will rule Nigeria is coming from the diaspora. The best president that will rule and liberate Africa, not only Nigeria, is coming from the diaspora. I call what is going on rumble in the jungle. What is going on right now is rumble in the jungle, in the sense that if you don't have big money, big name, I cannot parade yourself. You cannot, people will not. No, the world is changing. Give an example. I was actually a witness when President Obama wanted to become the president of America in 2008. I know him very well. He was a senator in Chicago. He came to Atlanta and he said in the convention, I want to become the president of America. The civil rights people look at him. What's this man saying? Who is he? Who knows him? His father is not in the civil rights. He doesn't have big oil well like the Bush of transition of, you understand what I'm saying? And no legacy of presidency. You better stop your mouth so that when they hear your name, you will not spoil your name. The people will not want. You say, I want to become the president of America. The race began. Hillary Clinton was the wife, was the first lady under President Clinton. And everybody said, yes, this is the next president. But people that saw the talent in Obama, say, yes, this man is talking reality. How do we support him? How do we make him to become what he wants to? Obama was one of the best presidents in America today. And people listen to him because he has what we call wisdom and understanding. That's what we need. That's what we need. You don't need to have bag of money before you command the attention of the people. I speak in any country, they invite me. Who am I? Just a young somebody who was raised in Lagos, who live in a Paja, who go through the traffic of third mainland. He's speaking and people are listening. Why not? But I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for my people. That's why I want it. So it's a revelation that those who will redesign the status quo of this country, they live in the diaspora because they have sacrificed themselves, they have drilled themselves, they have seen what is done in the world arena, and they want it to happen in their country. So give them some time. Give the little chance to what is going on. Let the people who have the opportunity rethink that, hey, it is not a revolution that is coming, it is a renaissance that is coming to change us. I mentioned the ideology from parking lot to the palace, from bus to Bentley. When all those things happen, our generation, our children will benefit from it. I want my generation to come, our children to come, to even live bigger and transform. Look at the lady that won the world athletics or something, what they call her name. I was amazed when I saw Nigeria winning, laying the world record on, is it hurdles, yes. But it's determined. You look at it, the college says, yes, I am here with authority, audacity. And she did. I'm just saying that for an example. Look at a musician today. What is called the Boomer Boy or something? Burna Boy. He came to Los Angeles, and when he said, dance like this, people dance like that. Do this, and the world is commanding the attention of the world. What do we need again? When our politicians are seeing that these people are laying the precedent, they are showing an example. Why don't we change from our own attitude? You know, integrity, without integrity, nothing works. And that's what we need in our leadership. In my center in the university, there will be a course, a program that anybody that wants to lead, being you in the House, in the Senate, in the representative, you have to come for an induction course, maybe about 3 months. How to manage people, how to manage agenda, how to manage issues. You could be a successful man, maybe a businessman, a doctor, a lawyer, but you are not in the legislative process. Why don't you go through the routine, get a certificate, and the university will be checks and balances. You going there. If you mess up, we tell the people you're not going to get second chance. And the second chance, people will not vote for you. So you will be the referee. You will be the umpire. Let's give this one a red card. Let's give this a yellow card. That is when we are talking.
Earlier you mentioned exchange programs, you mentioned faculty exchange.
Yes.
So how is that going to help improve rankings of African universities globally?
Good question again. You see, there is a standard set up to actually aggregate the universities. When we have exchange program, the idea of exchange program is for you to come with your knowledge, impart with mine, and we exchange ideas. I learn from you, you learn from me. When that starts happening, we don't have a local students again, we have international students who will perform to the standard. When we have faculty exchange program, The way they did jump here, the way they did the exam here, and so on and so forth, may not be the routine over there. He learned. Then we have a research program. They study what you're doing here. They learn from it. They bring their own. You rub minds together. You will see a lot of changes. A lot of changes.
Okay.
And when that starts happening, we are aiming into excellence. And when we see that happening, we are transforming. And that's why faculty exchange program, so student exchange program, international study abroad program, projects, international program, and all those will start happening. Then science and technology take preeminence. Because without science and technology, we are going nowhere. Look at when COVID happened. The world is running elder scatter. But they now saddle their interest on who are to design the vaccine. The current scientists. Let me tell you today, the best scientists the CDC have is from Cameroon. From Cameroon. And I met Dr. Frieden. He said, you guys, you are brilliant, but you don't know the value of who you are. Africa. He's talking to Africa. Africa should be going to the NASA in the next century, because that's where the world is going. What is the standard over there should be the standard right here. And we cannot exclude that, because we are living in a global community. The world is a global village. And if we are already doing it there and making it happen in the developed country, why don't we use it to transform where we are? Agroeconomy is coming. We don't need to depend on oil alone. There are so many, America being America, they depend on so many sources of economy. People now struggling to now uninterrupted 24 hours life. That is a mandate for this country. Why can't our government do that? Why can't you stand with the government, developed country? Hey, you want me to help you? You want to sell your market? Help me to establish uninterrupted 24 hours. That's what I will need for my people. Put your feet down. They will do it because they know what they are getting from you. Don't go into any developed country you're looking for loan. Tell them you have more, but tell them how they will now improve. I'm planning to make Nigeria the center point for the entire West Africa country. I'm planning to make Rwanda the center point for the entire Central Africa country. I'm planning to make Morocco the entire center point for North Africa region. And I'm planning for South Africa region to make South Africa the entire center point for South Africa region. 5 of these universities will be in Africa, whereby we train people with artificial intellectualism for what they need to do. These are the people with IQ who think beyond. When we have that, Africa will command the interest of the international community. When our worst fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are too powerful beyond measure. But we ask ourselves, who are you to be visionary? Who are you to be talented? Who are you not to be? We are all children of God. Our playing small does not really matter, so that other people around us will not feel intimidated. As we liberate ourselves from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So that's how far we can go on the show for today, because
appreciate
our
you.
time is already against us.
I appreciate you having me today, and hope deferred again make the mindset. When the desires are met, it becomes a tree of life.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much, sir. So that's our show for today. Remember, do follow us across all our social media platforms at Unilag on TV. Remember, subscribe, like, and comment. My name is Vina Peters. Bye for now.
the liquid that oceans are made of. And it fills endless depths. Only few will venture out into the endless open ocean of this vast underwater world. Most of the ocean inhabitants live in the city, as it were, like human societies. Very close together, with friendly neighbors and nasty co-tenants. While dangerous robbers lurk around at the edge of town. To assert yourself here, you have to be equipped with all kinds of tricks and clever strategies, or lie and cheat. Coral reefs are the largest structures in the world. They're giant submerged metropolises. Millions of different inhabitants live in these cities. A universe with coral palaces and soaring towers. Every neighborhood has a chief. The entire street belongs to this guy. No trespassing, okay? A typical large city with all the noise and ruckus. Even this little porcupine fish bleats around. It creates this sound with its swim bladder. Two small harlequin shrimps are nibbling on this blue sea star. If someone else shows up, he will catch hell. Another harlequin shrimp busy pulling a bite out of a sea star. Moray eels in disagreement. A scorpion fish shuffles across the ocean floor. Everything and everybody makes a lot of noise. A boxer crab threatens everybody that comes by, holding two poisonous anemones in its claws. At least the anemone reef looks peaceful. Or does it? The clownfishes are having a huge squabble. Who does this anemone belong to? We can hardly see this fish, but he's easy to hear, a crocodile fish. Does this giant puffer fish hear something? It's a ray that's getting away. A dispute amongst the members of the cichlid family. Who is stronger, and especially who is louder? Two Walkman fish are noisily trying to woo a female. Big city noise everywhere, especially when a large structure is being torn down. Everybody lives in their own way in this noisy metropolis. Some hover above it all, but others are more down to earth and literally live in the coral sand. These goatfishes, for example, they plow through the ocean floor and catch smaller animals between their teeth. They use their barbels like a dowser. With them, they can detect even the weakest electric fields that point them towards small prey. These gobies also dredge through the sand and feed on what they find in there. There's another way of finding prey in the sand. This blue-spotted stingray uses its wings like shovels, and there's always a chance of stealing something. While one works, others just stand by and feed on what's left over, maybe a piece of crab or a mussel. You have to be very familiar with this area to find the best morsels. This triggerfish uses a strong stream of water. The fish blows away the sand to unearth whatever is hidden inside it. Others are quick to steal whatever they can. The triggerfish is a commanding fish, and most reef inhabitants are easily intimidated by him, except for these strange visitors that don't seem to show fear. In any case, it's best to cover them up with sand. It's not easy for a small fish in a big city. There's always somebody with bad intentions, and you have to be extra careful not to get swallowed, like these moon wrasses, for example. So it's always safer for the smallest among the reef inhabitants to show up in schools. It's difficult to keep an eye out for only one little fish, and as a result the predator often grabs blindly at nothing and comes up empty. To show up in a big mob is always safest. Others are easily distracted at the sight of so much prey all at once. This easygoing giant pufferfish would never have a chance here anyway. Being part of a school of fish is always the best protection from predators. The slow ones are being ignored. No danger here. The school distributes the danger. If there are 1,000 fishes, any of them can be the target, and 999 are going to be just fine. But what about loners, or those that live as a couple? Seahorses, for example, camouflage themselves to look like the coral branches they're holding on to. Even more difficult to see. Where is the animal here? Only the eye betrays this trumpetfish's camouflage. They do everything to not look like themselves. Ornate ghost pipefishes. They're inseparable, a couple. The female is already carrying eggs in her extended belly. Before long, the male will fertilize her eggs. They are still regular fishes, despite their unique costume. This one looks like torn-off seagrass. The spiny waspfish rocks back and forth in the current. Not a monster, but ingenious camouflage. A spider crab that's decorated its head with a sponge. This will deter any predator. Another great camouflage, a barrel decorated with rocks. Only the movement of the gills betrays this stonefish. Even a smack with a fin doesn't bother him. The fish knows it will not hurt him. It only shoves him a little further to the side. Similarly tough are its cousins, the scorpion fishes. They lie there as if dead, especially when others around them freak out. And even when moray eels fight with lionfishes for food. The scorpion fish lies in wait for its chance, and then immediately becomes completely motionless again. The only difference is that it raises its dorsal fins with the poisonous barbs inside, is completely still but now also armed. This large anglerfish virtually blends into the background tangle of algae and leaves. Right now, the anglerfish is on high alert. It ejects a large cloud in order to throw off predators. It's not the time to feed or catch anything. Its angling rod is lying flat on the fish's back. The white tip at the end of the rod is used to lure prey. The anglerfish feels threatened by something. Finally, it gives up its camouflage and moves further over, using its fins to float. As soon as the fish retracts the fins, it sinks to the ocean floor. Anglerfishes come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. Their trick is ingenious, using the angling rod as a lure. And every curious little fish becomes dinner. Many animals, including ocean inhabitants, communicate with a mixture of sounds and behavior. Everybody has to look out for their own survival in this metropolis of ocean inhabitants. But it seems maybe not quite everybody does it by themselves. The partner goby has come to an agreement with two pistol shrimps. The goby keeps an eye on things while the shrimps keep maintaining their hole. Larger rocks at the entrance are ideal for securing it. They're an experienced team. The shrimps keep in constant contact with the goby and even massage the fish's belly. The goby will get nervous without these gestures from the shrimps. The pistol shrimps need a cool and collected bouncer at their entrance. Teamwork. This is where the anemones settle with their poisonous tentacles. Whoever gets caught by those will pay for it dearly or lose their life. No wonder that there is virtually no one who likes to settle here. The little clownfishes are the only ones that know how to deal with these tentacles. They cover themselves with the slime of the anemone's tentacles and are protected from the poison. The clowns are safe in here, and in return will protect their anemone as well as they can. This seems like a sensible deal. But on occasion, the anemone will pull the tentacles inside its column-shaped body, which means the clownfish's home is gone. When this happens, they panic and look for another anemone that they can hide in for the time being. Unfortunately, this one is already occupied, and the next one as well, and this means having to fight its current owner. There's much to lose for the clowns. Without the anemone, they can't procreate. The clownfishes attach their eggs to the bottom of the column-shaped foot of their anemone, hidden behind the poisonous tentacles. Both male and female tend to the eggs. They fan fresh water on them. The eyes of the babies are already clearly visible. The clowns are very protective of their eggs. It takes the two of them to protect their offspring, and only in conjunction with the anemone. Everybody in the reef has to take special care of their young. If they don't, it means their species will simply die out. So it's not surprising that everybody gives it their best effort. This triggerfish has hidden its offspring in a small hollow in the sandy ocean floor. And this means having to constantly protect this open egg site. On occasion, they blow and fan the eggs, but mostly they keep an eye out for predators. This means grave danger. One of the sea urchins is wandering straight towards the nest. The eggs have to be protected at all cost, but how? The triggerfish seems to consider the alternatives. But then it blows and then rams the sea urchin. Again and again until it breaks. The sea urchin's guts spill out into the open. A few more hits for good measure. The danger has been averted. Everything else is easy. Two little damselfishes cling to a coral branch, a pretty and obviously inseparable pair. They appear to have something important to do. And there it is. The female has been laying eggs and glued them to a coral branch. Over and over again, both of them sweep past the eggs to keep them clean. Two very busy parents in the middle of town. Not far from them, the same kind of damselfish, but this one is feeding on the eggs, not tending to them. This damselfish's priorities have changed. Its partner is gone, and it's impossible to bring the eggs through by itself. So it feeds on its own eggs to at least recycle the nutrients. There are many different strategies to give one's offspring a good start. Some are surprisingly easy. The mass mating of the black sea breams. The males are so generous with their sperm that often a cloud of it will engulf the entire wedding party. Countless couples and constantly in motion. A predator would have a hard time to find its bearings in this schooling behavior. The fish's instincts cause them to mass mate in order to ensure the survival of their species. Cardinal fishes have their own clever means of child protection. It's not time yet. The couple are still flirting and courting with each other, going around and around. We'll leave them to it and take a detour to a couple not quite as gentle with each other. Monkfishes live in groups, and their nests are very close to one another. As a result, all the fishes are alerted to a predator nearing their nests. Hermit crabs love to feast on the eggs of the monkfishes, so the protective parents are all getting nervous. The hermit crab is still far enough away and currently busy with something else. The hermit crab's best defense is its house that it carries around for protection. The patience of the monkfishes is wearing thin. Now everyone attacks in order to bowl the crab away from their nests. They're clearly telling this hermit crab to take a hike, but they should have stayed with their offspring because there's new danger approaching. A gaggle of rainbow wrasses takes advantage of this unique opportunity and ravages the monkfish nests. The predators are quick, brutal, and in the majority. Most of the monkfish eggs will be devoured. An attack of this kind would never happen to the cardinal fishes because they are mouth brooders and don't have to watch over a nest that's out in the open. The males carry the eggs in their mouths, up to 20,000 of them. A mobile nursery. They're safe here in their father's mouth, unless, of course, he gets eaten. During the night, when it's dark, the danger is greatest. These underwater cities have a very active nightlife with special attractions. Basket starfishes come out and sit in the current. It's a night-active type of brittle star. With their arms full of tiny little hooks, they filter plankton out of the water to feed. A very elegant feather star. It's on the move to find a better spot to filter plankton. This Spanish dancer is even more graceful and elegant than the brittle stars. It's a type of nudibranch. The giant pufferfish is relaxed and spends the night dozing off on the sandy bottom. Others prefer the safety of their quiet bedroom, a surgeonfish. Everybody settles in for the night as comfortably as possible. The parrotfish tucks itself away in its mucus cocoon for protection against predators. Everybody's sleeping arrangements are different. The poor triggerfish has to stand guard by its nest all night long. There's no time to rest. Some of the predators are quite soft-footed. A cone snail has spotted a small fish. The snail is fast, and the prey disappears in the blink of an eye. The night is still young, and still full of danger and terror. These lionfishes pose danger to the cardinal fishes. Lionfishes suck in their prey. Even if they choke on it. They're hanging around waiting for their chance. This poor cardinal is sideways in the lionfish's mouth, eggs and all. Lionfishes aren't the most elegant predators, with all their attachments and frayed fins. But this is all part of their camouflage. They're harder to see and blend into the background. Outside the reef, the lionfishes hunt as a school. They drive their prey towards one another with their fanned-out fins. They prefer to attack from above, cornering their prey. This is not a different location, just different light. These special blue lights totally change the appearance of the reef. Now we can see that the coral polyps are bright red, and they clearly stand out from their environment. A new and fascinating perspective on the communication of many ocean inhabitants. And suddenly an eruption of sorts. It looks like smoke, but in reality it's a type of reproduction. A carpet anemone is ejecting its sperm. In the blue light, it looks like a dramatic eruption. A hermit crab as a magic lantern. The blue light brings out these colors. An entire group of lionfishes on a food foray. The animals don't seem to know any fear. It seems that they're well aware of the poison they carry in their back spines. They even use the light of our dive torches to their advantage. There's no nightly rest to be had here. With the first daylight, new life comes into the reef city. They all seem to start going again, ponderously with armored fins. As pedestrians, and as light and quiet as possible. Mother and daughter, elegant and synchronous. Some have to hustle along on 10 legs. This spider crab runs straight into a brittle star gathering. A giant smash-up in the early morning. Wildly flopping around, everybody tries to get away. As in every city, there are also shopping opportunities here. This moray eel knows her shops well. She rushes to her favorite store every morning. The same with this blue-spotted ray. But they haven't opened yet. It leans on one fin as if to say, it's waiting. Similar problems in a branch further up. These sweet lips are also waiting to be tended to. Here they come, a little late this morning. The small, cleaner wrasses are starting to open their shop and are hungry. They're ready to rid their customers of parasites. This ray is also being served. It likes to have its gills cleaned. This is a barter business. One side gets cleaned, the other fed. A very fair deal. Clownfishes seem to be excluded from this business because they can't leave their anemone. In their case, the cleaner fishes make house calls. This snake eel is also otherwise engaged, and the cleaner shrimps are also making house calls for him. Finally, it's the moray's turn. It has a lot of nutritious freeloaders on its skin and in its gills. All of a sudden, the cleaners leave. Why? This Titan triggerfish is no better off. The treatment has stopped before he was finished. The cleaner fishes have new customers, clients that have never come to see them before, and they're now being preferred over old customers. The point is that these new clients will like the service here so much that they will come back again. The regular customers have to be patient and wait until the new clients are finished. Cleaner fishes operate solely according to economic rules. This guy has also come for the first time and quite enjoys their service. Sometimes it's too much of a good thing, though. This small black-spotted puffer just wants to look around and is not asking for a cleaning at this time. It swims away quickly and clearly annoyed. It's time to go back to the regular customers before they get impatient and leave for good. Digging deep where the gills are dirtiest. One last time through the mouth, and it's as good as new, and the teeth squeaky clean. Now this male moray can start looking for a suitable female. She is clearly not interested in male visitors. This next dugout also does not look encouraging. These two have already found each other. A strange pair with a triggerfish as roommate. They seem to get along just fine. It's difficult to cut in as a stranger. It would also be well advised to stay away from this giant triggerfish. This, on the other hand, might be a different situation. It's important to be patient. This female moray does not seem to be too reluctant. She's showing her teeth, which is not a sign of aggression, quite the opposite. She finally agrees to a date. The two of them are getting to know each other. Moray eels are very gentle with their mates. And they're good for another surprise, as partners of a phenomenal hunting party. These types of hunting parties have to find each other first in this big city. The right place for the moray and her partner. The morays cooperate with the groupers. It's not so far-fetched. The grouper hunts in the open and the moray inside the reef. The moray is able to get in between cracks and crevices that the grouper can't get to. Together, they're a strong team. A grouper that's trying to convince this moray to hunt with him. The grouper signals this to the moray by rocking back and forth and shaking for all it's worth. All for nothing. This moray doesn't understand and stays in its cave. Next try. Maybe the moray will react this time and swim with him. Again, no luck. Finally, this moray seems to understand the grouper and is hungry. The grouper tilts its head and the moray accepts his invitation. Together they swim through the reef. The moray prefers to swim between the dark alleyways, and the grouper decides it's safer to stay on the main streets around the reef. This is not the right place. The grouper expected to find scared prey here. The moray takes a break and waits. It's not going to happen this way. Again, another invitation to go. They continue through the reef to another coral head. Also nothing for them here either. The moray is getting ambitious as well now and initiates a hunt on her own. She might be better at finding hunting spots. They're successful in this next coral head, and then everything happens very quickly. The fishes are panicked, and both hunters are able to profit from that. This coral city offers living space for millions. Many hideouts and crevices provide protection for everybody. My home is my castle. While some escape between sharp corals, others curl up in a ball. Octopuses don't have bones and are therefore able to change shape. Their homes are usually very tight and space-saving. They like to live a bit further apart from their neighbors because they're not necessarily always friends with one another. It might be best to put up a wall of stones between them. The ocean offers many hideouts, which is synonymous with survival for many ocean inhabitants. There can also be hideouts that nature never intended to be there, such as this giant wreck, 240 feet deep. A research submarine on its way into the deep comes across a sunken freighter. It's an artificial world with countless nooks and crevices to offer protection and a home for many ocean inhabitants. The wreck has long been overgrown with all kinds of sea life. The side of the hull has become a living wall made of corals and sponges. Sunfishes, with their odd form of movement, patrol this area. They're looking for jellyfish. In steerage, where the current is strongest, filter feeders have found a new home, such as these sea fan corals. They feed on the tiny plankton particles. A unit that has grown together made of technical, man-made and organic structures. Even the steel anchor has grown a second skin, made of living beings. It offers these delicate creatures a solid structure to grow on. They have all made a comfortable home in this sunken world. Not even the lights of the stub disturb any of the wreck inhabitants. New life has been created out of the tragedy of this sunken ship, the ingenious, life-renewing cycle of nature. The Morays are sharing a home. They seem to be exceptionally friendly towards one another, even with this conger eel as their neighbour. Even the octopus remains unharmed by the Morays. A unique environment made of steel that offers many different opportunities for ocean inhabitants to use it. Even this fishing net offers a conger eel a place to hide. The original destination of the sub is located a bit deeper, a picturesque underwater city full of ancient amphora architecture. An antique merchant vessel sank here. Only the clay containers, once filled with Greek wine, are still visible. Now they offer homes and protection to many ocean inhabitants. Similar to the reef, hiding places are essential for staying alive down here. The amphorae have a very special shape. They taper towards the bottom, so they could be stored sitting upright in a layer of sand in the hull of the ship. The amphorae and their precious contents were safe during transport. Spiny lobsters welcome these types of caves. Conger eels also feel safe in this mess of amphorae and shards of clay, as if it was made for them and their slender, long bodies. The city of amphorae on the ocean floor provides countless opportunities to observe, disappear, and be unseen. Maybe that's why this city seems to be very calm and orderly, even when the conger eel swims above everybody's abode. Nobody panics because they only have to withdraw slowly into their homes and are safe. The same goes for this forkbeard. The conger eel's only chance to make prey down here is to hide himself and ambush somebody. The sunfishes also don't have much luck feeding here, for the same reasons as the conger eel. On the other side of the globe, the Spencer Gulf in southern Australia. Every year, hundreds of giant cuttlefishes meet up to mate. The rocky seabed offers great holes and caves to hide the eggs. The females are smaller than the males and seem to be a bit shy, keeping their arms tucked tightly together. The males, on the other hand, present every bit of themselves openly to impress the females, but also other males that are potential rivals. When the going gets tough, it's always a good idea to hide behind the safety of a cloud of ink. Without much success. Escape in reverse. Only the strongest of them have a chance with the females. He's a winner and courts his female by changing his color to interesting stripes. She has agreed to mate with him, and they hug tightly. He deposits his sperm package into her mantle opening. Immediately afterwards, she withdraws into one of the caves on the ocean floor in order to avoid courtship from other males. A clear signal. The male is protecting his female from other rivals. But there's always the unexpected. A so-called sneaker male tries to cut in. This male is much smaller and pretends to be another female by acting like one, very demure and shy. All seems to be fine in the den. He's busy chasing away other rivals from this new supposed female. Especially now that there are 2 females under his protection. It can't hurt. The 2 supposed females on the bottom below him are getting closer to each other, the sneaker male and the female. They mate in secret, under the protection of the strong male. As soon as the sneaker male is found out, it gets dangerous for him, but he has achieved what he came for and mated with this female. The beatings are nothing compared to the glory of his success. Intelligent strategies and tricks are essential for survival underwater and part of everyday life. A final dive into the magical world of sharks. This spot on a sandbank close to the Bahama Islands has great attraction for these lemon sharks. They come here by the hundreds, and nobody exactly knows why. This sandy plateau in the middle of the open ocean is easy for scientists to get to. This experiment will show how sharks react to their own reflection. The metal mirror stands upright on the seabed. The animals that swim towards it will see their own reflection coming closer. How will these lemon sharks react? Now the researchers have to have strong nerves. Things stay surprisingly calm. The foreign object is almost ignored, as if it had been there forever. The sharks either swim past it or underneath it. The scientists expected a bit more, and soon the sharks lose all interest in the mirror. Some sharks even calmly drop to the seabed to rest. The only ones alarmed by this behavior are the remoras that like to keep moving. They let go of their shark and see if they can't hitch a ride with a more active individual. Shark hopping. This one isn't a good choice either, so they continue to yet another one. All of a sudden something happens to the mirror, and the peaceful afternoon on the sandbank changes quickly into the complete opposite. The rope that the mirror is attached to loosens and the mirror falls over. Suddenly, and seemingly out of nowhere, several sharks rush to the mirror and show great interest in it. They smell and touch it, and they get more and more excited. What happened all of a sudden? None of the scientists have any idea how to explain this change in behavior. The animals that were calm and collected only a second ago are now completely out of their minds, and the situation quickly escalates into a mass attack on the mirror. Do they mistake their own reflection for an opponent? It's time for the divers to leave because it's not safe anymore. The communication of the ocean inhabitants continues to